What's up, folks? BCSG here. As promised, I'm going to be talking about how I make my jig hits today. So what you need is, you're going to need pliers, a good solid set of pliers. Of course, split shots. You're going to need super glue. You're going to need, well, I wouldn't call this a need, but it would help if you had some of these glow beads or rubber beads or whatever you call them in various sizes. Of course, the size, once again, depends entirely on the size of the jig head you want to make. The bigger the jig head, the bigger the rubber bead. And once again, this is not compulsory. You don't have to have the rubber beads. That just kind of helps keep the rubber in place. So then, of course, you need the hooks. And the hooks of choice for me, now there are a few different brands you can go for. I believe Gamakatsu and a few others have these kind of hooks as well. I use Mustad Ultra Point 90-degree bend hooks, and nothing special about it except that it's basically 2 times strong, which means it's a pretty strong hook. And that also leads on to the reason why I make my own jig heads, okay, or at least one of the reasons. So that the first reason is I get to choose the quality of my hook. The exact size, one thing, and the quality. You see, the problem with most of these pre-made jig heads is you can't exactly, you can choose the weight, you can choose the hook size, but you can't always choose the strength of the hook shank. You know, sometimes you get the 1 time strong, sometimes if you specifically look for it, you can find extra strong ones, but you know, generally you would choose a pre-made jig head based on the weight and the hook size. And what I found on many occasions is, for the given size and weight of jig heads that I use, I keep getting hooks opening. You know, I'd be fighting a decent size Temensis or PB, and next thing I know, I mean, I most of the time I still land it, but then when I go look at the jig head, the hook's all bent out and stuff like that, and well, I wasn't having any of that, because sometimes if you don't notice it and you just go to cast it out again, you're going to lose fish just because of that. And I've lost enough fish over the years to get completely sick of buying off-the-shelf jig heads. So I decided to make my own. Alright, so I'm going to go step by step, and I'm going to show you exactly how you would make a jig head right from start to finish. I'm actually going to make a couple of them right now, right here, live. Alright, so let's cut straight to that. Alright, okay, so first you want to choose the size of jig head that you want. For the sake of this video, I'm going to make the biggest size that I have, which is a size 2.0 hook and a size 5 split shot. Now, if I'm not wrong, let's just get a weight right here. A size 5 split shot should be about 10 grams. Yep, 9.53. So, a size 5 jig head, a size 5 split shot, approximately 10 grams. Grab my hook. You got the hook, you got the split shot. Let me just move this out of the way so that you guys can really see what's going on here. Alright, and you need super glue. Any kind of super glue will do, and you've got the pliers. Alright, so simple. All you need to do is take your pliers. Now I recommend these kind of short nose pliers with because if you use long nose pliers, it gets a bit cumbersome. You know, not that you can't do it with long nose pliers, I just prefer these kind. So see that there's a round part right there, you know, the crimping section, and I feel that that's a perfect place to put the split shot, right? All right, you know what? I forgot to, let me open the super glue first. Okay, so you're going to place the split shot in the pliers like so, right? Then you're going to apply super glue, right? Just a little super glue, you know, a couple of drops. You don't want to put too much, but you don't want to put too little either. You got to have some super glue in there. All right. Take the hook. you're going to put it in. Right? You can use the hook to kind of spread the glue around if you want. Now this part is pretty important. This is where you choose forward, backwards, up, down. That's how you kind of center where that eye of the hook is going to be. And then you crimp it down just a little bit. You see how that jig head is still open? Let's get the camera to focus. Right, you see how it's still a little bit open? I just crimped it down a little. That's just to make sure I got the position of the eye right. Okay, we want the eye to be completely out of the split shot. Right, sometimes you make a mistake and it's too far in, it's too far forward, too far back, and you crimp it all the way down, and only after you crimp it all the way down you realize you made the mistake. So that's why you just kind of give it a little squeeze just to let it bite, and that's where you judge whether you got it right. And of course I've done this so many times, I know exactly what I'm doing here. So the eye of the hook is perfectly outside the split shot. So once you've positioned the hook properly, right, you just take your pliers and you crimp it down. Nice and hard. Alright, now the key thing here is you want to make sure that, you see that line in the middle? That's that crack needs to be completely closed. So you want to really squeeze down on it. Okay, there you go. That's pretty much it. That's the jig head right there. That's how easy it is. I can make a jig head like every 25 seconds. Okay, so you're done. You know, you're pretty much done at this point. And if you want to put the plastic beads on, at this point you can. You can choose to put 1 or 2. I used to put 2 until I realized it was a bit of a hassle to get the certain soft plastics to go over 2. So what I've started doing is just doing 1. So you just take 1 bead, slide it on. Alright, you want to choose the size of the bead that is a pretty decently tight fit on the hook. Now obviously you're going to glue this on, but still it helps if the bead is already pretty tight on the hook. Alright, so you're just going to slide it in a little. Now the idea here is you don't want the bead to go all the way to the end. Alright, you don't want the bead to go all the way to the end. You want the bead to actually be about 2 to 3 mm away from that split shot. And the reason for that is you want the rubber to go over the bead and have a little section so that it can close off. Otherwise it defeats the purpose of the bead being there. It's to hold the rubber there. The rubber goes around the bead, and then it envelopes it like that, and it kind of locks in place like so. Alright, so you want that bead about 2 to 3 mm away from the split shot. Pull it out a little bit. Just put a little bit of glue exactly where you want that bead to be. Now when I say a little bit, I'm talking like just a little. Alright, look at that. Okay, you see that? It's barely even wet. It's just a little dab of glue. And from that point, you slide it on. Slide it right to that spot. And what I found is not just sliding it, but as you slide it, you're turning it as well. You're turning it like that, alright? And as you can see, the glue sets really quickly because it's super glue and you can't turn it anymore, but you're not done yet. Alright, that little tiny dab of glue is just to position it. It's not gonna, you're not gonna get much holding power from that. And what you're gonna do from here is you're gonna literally completely cover that entire bead with a film of super glue. Alright, because super glue hardens, it dries hard. So it becomes pretty solid when it's dried. And well, what I found is putting a coating of super glue kind of changes the bead from a rubber thing to a pretty solid bead. Alright, so that's it right there, done. 1 complete jig head. Size 2.0 hook. Alright, size 5 split shot. So of course, you know, you pick the size according to what you need. So I'm just going to do an example of me making a slightly smaller one. Let's see, I'll go with my size 1. And I'll go with a size size 3 split shot. Okay, size 3 split shot. So now same thing. Okay, put split shot in the pliers, add a little super glue, couple of drops. Once again, decent drops. You don't want the glue to be leaking all over the place, but you want there to definitely be glue on this. Right? Put that hook shank in, spread the glue around, position everything right. You want to make sure that eye of the hook is completely outside of the split shot. Put it back in, crimp it down. And you're done. Now, of course, because we are going down a size of hook, I'm using a smaller size bead. The smaller the hook, the smaller the bead. Put a little dab of super glue. Now this one is just a dab on the shank. Right? You rotate it and slide it in until about 2 to 3 mm away from the split shot. And you really cover that with super glue. Now it took me a few tries and a few experiments to figure out exactly how I should be doing this. And the first few times I did it, I didn't put any super glue on the top of the bead after I was done. All I did was glue the shank, slide the bead in, glue the start, glue the end, and I thought that was going to be enough. But what I realized was without that super glue hardening around the bead, it's going to be essentially soft rubber. Now, soft rubber coming into contact with a soft plastic, that's going to be way too grippy. What's going to happen is that soft plastic is going to end up fusing with this rubber bead if you leave it on for too long. And when you go to pull off that soft plastic, it pulls off the bead together with it. So this layer of super glue around it, it prevents that from happening. I have never had that happen ever since I started coating it with super glue. So that's that. That's how I make my own jig heads. And so once again, I can choose the weight. I can choose the exact kind of hook. You know, if you have a brand preference, if you prefer Gamakatsu over Mustad, you prefer a long shank over a short shank, or the other way around, that's the point of making your own jig heads. You can choose everything. You wanna, if you like using a clear, clear soft plastics. If you're using a translucent one, you know, you can customize the color of the bead that you put inside. They've got red ones, they've got orange ones, they've got green ones. And if you think that makes a difference, you know, I've heard that the color of the bead in a transparent soft plastic it could make a difference. You know, so things like that. You can customize your jig head. You can even customize the shape of the head. Once you're done crimping it down, you can actually crimp it, you know, this way or that way, make it a little bit more oval, make it a bit flatter. You could crimp it down this way such that it is flat on this side. So what happens is when the jig head lands, it naturally rocks this way so that your soft plastic sticks out like that. You see? So yeah, making your own jig heads, it's cheap because these hooks, there's 100 in this box, okay? So there's 100 in this box. This box cost me 18 USD. Okay, Google, convert 18 USD to SGD. $24. Oh, I just did like an advertisement for Google. So it's 24 Sing for 100 hooks. So what does that work out to per hook? Right, that's what, 25 cents, 24 cents. So it's 25 cents per hook. And this is for the big one, right? Split shots, they go for like what? What is it? Maybe like eight for like $1.80 or something like that, right? So that's what, 20 cents, right? 20 cents plus 25 cents, 45 cents. A little bit of super glue, a little bit of beads. Let's just round that up to about 50 or 60 cents per jig head, and you've got yourself a fully customized jig head to the exact weight that you want, with the exact kind of hook that you want, with the exact length of the shank that you want, in any combination of weight and hook size. Now everyone knows, I'm sure anyone who has used jig heads before knows that it's a nightmare if you want to find a specific size hook with a specific size weight, especially for folks who are just picking up using a bait caster, for example. It's easier to learn with heavier stuff. Or if you already know how to use a bait caster and you're trying to go BFS, right? So you're trying to cast all these smaller soft plastics, but you can't quite manage with that low weight. But then again, you still want that small hook for that small soft plastic, so you can customize and use a smaller hook with a larger split shot. I mean, it's not 100% ideal, but you're never going to be able to do that with off-the-shelf jig heads. Alright folks, so that wraps up my DIY jig head video. I hope you guys found this useful. You know, I hope some of you understand now why I make my own jig heads. It doesn't look like much. I know it doesn't look like much, it doesn't look professional, but I assure you there's plenty else that matters besides it looking professional, such as all the customization that you can do with it. So if you guys found this video useful, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Share my videos with your friends, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Tight lines, guys.